Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're working on a Toro GTS recycler. Now, rather than do the normal thing we would usually start off by cleaning the carburetor and going through and making sure everything's correct there before we do anything else, and it usually works. But today we're going to do something different. We're going to take a shortcut. We're going to pull the jet out of the bottom of the carburetor, only clean the jet and put it back. And I'm kind of betting it'll run perfect. So all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. And it really is what we're working for. So let's get started on it. Now I've already gotten my tools together and gotten all organized and ready to go for this one. And first thing we're going to do is take the muffler off. The muffler is just plain old in the way for this particular mower. And it's pretty easy to take off. So next up, we're going to go ahead and remove the carb here. And it does have the Phillips screw here, but you're a lot better off using a socket. And remember to take pictures every step of the way as you're doing this, because it's not real obvious when you're putting it back together how everything happened. So now here you want your pictures. This is where the springs go and the linkage goes. And that can be the part that's just confusing later. So the first thing we'll do is we'll pull the spring off here, and we'll leave that right there. Next thing we'll do is go ahead and pull our little air vent off, and we'll leave that there. And now, even though we've drained the gas, there's going to be a little bit in the line. So we're going to go ahead and pinch the gas line here and clip it shut so it shouldn't pour any gas on us. And we're going to take the fuel clip off. I'm sorry, the hose clip off for the fuel line. And do it carefully because this is plastic. And now that that's off, it's pretty easy to rotate the carburetor off the linkage. See which way it goes, and follow it the natural way it goes. Okay, we're going to put that right there. Now let's take this over to the bench and see what we've got going on. Now, just like all carburetors that sit around for a while, this one's probably got a clogged jet. And so we're going to go ahead and pull the jet off the bowl. And you see the extra gas is leaking out now. And that's just, use that to clean your bench. And this is the jet on this one. And as I've mentioned before, anytime you get a brass colored bolt, it's the jet on the carburetor. And it's what you want to clean up. This one, looking through it, I can see the vaguest hint of daylight. And that means that it's probably, the orifices are probably way too small on it. So let's go ahead and take our floral wire. You can buy this stuff in any old hardware store, or hobby store rather. We're going to run it through here. And we're going to run it down the middle. I didn't feel much resistance on the sides, but I feel quite a bit in the middle. So that's probably where our clog is. Now you'll see some people use drill bits to clean these out, but that's not necessarily a good idea every time, unless you've got a lot of skill doing it. Because with a drill bit, you'll change your orifice size, and then all of a sudden your motor won't be able to run decently. What you'll do is you'll make it run rich. With a piece of wire like this, you're not taking any chances on damaging anything. And now, rather than go through the full carb clean that we usually do, we're going to put this one back together just like it is. And the reason we're going to do that is just to show you that it's just the jet. It's almost always just the jet on one of these carburetors and nothing else. So let's take a look at our plunger. And notice we never even took the bowl off this carburetor, so we've done very little to it. And as we always say, it's always the carb. So we're going to take this dirty old guy over there and just bolt her back on and see if she starts. Okay, let's get this back together. I went ahead and pulled the top off so you can see inside pretty well. So you can see our linkage goes on the top with this part facing down. And this is hooking across the outside here. So what we'll do is we'll hold our carburetor down here. And the first thing we'll do is put our fuel line on. And the reason we're putting our fuel line on first is it's on the back of the engine. Or I'm sorry, on the back of the carburetor. And getting this clip back on is almost impossible once you've got it on. So now we'll hook our air line on. That's our positive crankcase ventilation. Okay, we're scooting to this side so you can see this part. First thing we're going to do is reattach the linkage. And we'll do that by getting it close and then rotating the carburetor until she clicks in. Come on, there you go. And then we'll come over here and we'll reattach the spring right here. And you want to be careful not to stretch your spring. It may not be obvious, but it's got a certain amount of tension. Oh, she just jumped off the other side. It's all good. And there we go. We're back together. So we're looking good, looking good, looking good. Now let's get our bolts started here. Let's start our bottom bolt. There she goes. That should do it. Let's tighten them up. And I keep this set on 1 so that it's pretty gentle. It may not sound gentle, but 1's perfect for working on one of these. Okay, let's get the muffler back in place. And we're almost ready to test. Okay, they're both started. Let's switch off. And da-da-da, she's back together. We'll release our kink in our fuel line. And now we'll put some fuel in her and put her on the floor and see if cleaning the jet took care of it. We've pulled the jet out of the carburetor. We've cleaned just the jet and didn't even take the bowl off the carburetor. And I did put a new primer bulb on it because the primer bulb was leaking a little bit. But let's see what we've got. I heard a little bit of stutter when she first started, and that's pretty common with these old Tecumseh motors. What'll happen is when you prime it, it doesn't quite know what to do with all the gas you put in it, and it'll stumble for the first few seconds, and then it smooths right out. And this one did smooth right out after the first couple of seconds. So I'm pretty happy with it. And you can see that we always say it's always the carburetor, but the truth of it is, it's always the jets inside the carburetor, unless she's leaking fuel. Then your needle and seat need cleaned. So, all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. It's free, and we appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.